Hello everybody, it's Scott O'Mato walking on air and here for a informational video here in our quest to master Dooglamoo Cities mod. This is a transitional type video because we have now finished with all of the resource and manufacturing industries here in our Skyblock world, and we have them laid out. So we need to make a few notes about that. So let's get started. Okay, now the first thing to note, again, is we have them all laid out generally as compact as they can be. All right, and this is why I transitioned to a slab world and outlined the chunks so that we could see what kind of space we're talking about for the different industries that are involved. So let's count the chunks here. We've got 4 across, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so it appears that 8 chunks by 4 chunks is about as compact as you can get it with all of the resource industries crammed into a single space. So that is 128 blocks across by 64. 128 by 64. So do keep in mind that a distributor can have a range of 85 blocks. So if I have a distributor in the center here, it could reach both ends. All right, it could reach all distributors and blocks at both ends. However, a distributor at one end or the other cannot. Okay, it cannot. But if I had this 32 chunk area in here, and you subtract that from the 128, then you could almost reach the end of this next one. So you could have a 4 chunk area on the end here, 4 chunk industry, and a 1 chunk industry on the end, and get close to reaching them with the distributor, right? Because that would take out another 16. So you would be eliminating 48 blocks from 128. So you're getting pretty close to being able to communicate across that distance. So that's just something you have to be aware of. Now, again, this is 8 chunks. So our render distance becomes important now, all right? Because we need to know that our render distance needs to at least take care of us seeing the end of that chunk. All right, so right now I'm in 12, all right? And 12 is something that, depending upon the load of your mod pack, maybe you can handle. All right, 8 is what I usually end up playing with a lot of times when I have heavy mod automation going. So that kind of stuff becomes important because you need to start considering chunk loaders and things of that nature. So for instance, chicken chunks here is one that I use persistent bits a lot because it's lighter, but this chunk loader will cover a much wider area. So let me just quickly place one down if you've never seen it in action before. The center is just about here. Somewhere around in here is the center. So you could show the lasers, and that's 9 chunks on each side. All right, so that's showing the lasers. It's really 4 chunks on each side, it appears. 9 chunks total. So let's raise that up. Yeah, the radius is what we're interested in. Let's make our radius, let's see, the maximum is 10. All right, the maximum is 10 chunks in a radius. So once you get beyond 10 chunks, you would need to place another chunk loader to handle that. You can see it extends out a little bit from its location. It's seeking the center of a chunk is what it's doing. It's placed here, so it's seeking the center of a chunk. But that would ensure that no matter where you were in the world, then these would all be loaded. All right, and so all these processes would continue. Every single one of these blocks would continue to harvest and plant and mine, and the animals would keep growing and being fed and all that, you would keep getting chat messages, which you can tell when you are out of range when your chat messages stop. You know that you're supposed to be getting some chat messages and you don't, then most likely you're out of range. But generally this would cover our whole area, but this is just the industry side. So it's quite likely that you're going to require more of these as you progress in building your city, because again, this is just the resource industry area. But I did want to briefly demonstrate that and give an idea that when everything is placed as compactly as it can be, generally, this could be a little bit different, but it's still the same amount of space that it's going to require, then this is going to be the size of your area. All right. So we do have distributors that are taking up chunks here. If we wanted to, we could lose a few chunks by cutting down on the number of mines and such like that. But for the way that I've laid out the distributors, this is a pretty good idea of what kind of space that you're going to deal with. Anyway, that's just a quick video. It's transitional to prepare us to start to talk about some other things that we're going to need to do with the buildings, and then eventually how to weave these together where you have industries, because keep in mind, some of these industries will be inside of buildings as well. So that's a thing to know for sure, that you don't have to have them laid out in the outdoors like we do here. That would be inside of buildings. But it's good to know generally what kind of space you're looking at. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. This is Scott O'Mato, and my little rabbit behind me. He escaped, the escape artist rabbit. But anyway, guys, take care, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.